Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. That's Sancho. I'm Colombian Santi. I'm here in Colombia, still doing the podcast, baby. Here for Christmas, Colombia, tierra querida. What's up, Sancho?
It's good to see you, man. I got to tell you, Santi, you got to leave. Every time you leave the country, wherever you are, the WWE starts cooking. It is cooking. But it's good to see that you're surrounded by family. You're having a good times. Yeah, you're having a good time in Colombia?
I'm having a great time. But, dude, it is, as Seth Rollins would say, bullshit. Because I purposely have been taking vacations on Decembers because for the past, 25 years of me watching professional wrestling, December WWE is ass. It's not good. They're in a triple threat stance, usually kind of just waiting for the new year, waiting for the build up to the Royal Rumble. But then the last 2 years, all of a sudden, they just keep feeding us so much content. Sancho, just in the final stretch of the last couple of weeks of 2024, listen to this. It was Full Gear. Then immediately it was Survivor Series. Then immediately the week after, it's going to be NXT Deadline. Then the week after, it's Saturday night's main event. And then 2 weeks after, it's AEW World's End. All of that happening within the last 6 weeks of 2024. So if you're a wrestling fan, you are feasting right now. It's too much. It's too much going on. Usually December is like the dead months of professional wrestling.
And Netflix coming right around that corner, dude. Hey.
Didn't it feel like we were kind of in like a... I know we'll talk a lot more about it. Didn't it feel like we were kind of in a Netflix era episode of Monday Night Raw?
It felt raw, legit. It felt weird. It felt like a fresh breath of fresh air. It felt exciting. It felt riveting. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. That first 30 minutes of Raw was incredible. Now, I know a lot of people would say that's a high quality, possibly one of the best, which we'll discuss later. But I want to ask you, why was it different? Why did you feel that it was one of the best Raws of the entire year?
Yeah, and again, we'll go into far more detail, but I just felt like it was one of the best Raws of the entire year because it felt like Triple H's tippy-toe storytelling finally took a big leap with a lot of the major storylines that have been brewing for a really long time, right? I know people say, let Papa H cook. By the way, I'm totally now on board that you should absolutely be able to criticize the cooking process. You know, if it smells like shit, you know, you should be able to say, hey, this cooking kind of smells like crap right now. Even though it's going to taste really good at the end, you should be able to criticize it. I just feel like it was one of those, I use this term a lot, needle mover episodes, right? I use that term pretty liberally here. It was a needle mover episode for a bunch of different storylines.
I feel like I'm in trouble, you know? I'm excited for Raw, and then I'm sad at the same time. Have you ever felt such a heartbreak ever in wrestling? Like, I was racking my brain to figure out what was the biggest heartbreak in wrestling ever. And the only thing that came close was Dave Bautista and Rey Mysterio, but that wasn't a seeded relationship. That was just a temporary partnership. We're talking about something that occurred 10 years in the making. 10 years.
I don't think that there's a proper one-to-one comparison. There's been definitely heartbreaking moments in WWE, a lot of sad stuff, but this right here, in terms of its delivery, the story that it told and the execution of the quasi breakup and reunion, it was masterful. But again, we're going to get into all of this. And folks, this is the Wrestling is Cool podcast, coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. You could be listening to this episode of the podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else. And I feel like it's safe to say this is one of those episodes because there's so much to talk about that you would have probably benefited from hearing the podcast earlier than everywhere else. Sancho, why are you laughing? Did I misspeak?
No, I'm sad because I just realized.
I thought you were laughing. I was like, screw you too, laughing at me.
No. I'm sad because I realized what happened on Survivor Series.
Oh boy, the Glaze Factory. Folks, come check out patreon.com/SantiZap. You get the podcast 3 days early. You get the Raw reviews, which I just posted mine 45 minutes long. The SmackDown reviews. You get 5 weekly match watch-alongs. The Undertaker streak watch-along. The Royal Rumble watch-along. There's so much more content here on the Patreon that never sees the light of day on YouTube. So come check it out. That's patreon.com/SantiZap. $5 not only gets you in the door, it gets you all of the content. So come on by, try it out for 1 month, try it out for the holiday season. I think that you're really going to like it. Sancho, let's just start off by talking about Survivor Series, because there's just so much to talk about. Great episode of Friday Night SmackDown as a go home. Great episode of Raw, and then we of course have the PLE. You want to start off by talking about Survivor Series?
Sure. I'm gonna say in general, when it comes to Survivor Series, I got a hot take for you, brother.
All right, hit me.
Hot take. I think it's time to sunset War Games, brother. It's time to put War Games into the Hell in a Cell factor, where you only should use it when the feud needs it, when you need to have a war over two sides that could only be settled in War Games. I truthfully, as an old head, you probably would hate this, but every match that would happen on the Survivor Series, the teams would have benefited from a traditional elimination match. It would have been so good to have it. For those of you who don't know, they have a 5v5. It goes down to it, whittle down to it, pin to the last man standing, gets eliminated from the other team. Imagine, Santi, if we had a traditional elimination match, 5v5 with the OG Bloodline, with CM Punk, with the Bloodline, with Bronson Reed. Not only is it safer for the wrestlers to do it because, numerous injuries have occurred in War Games. Good Lord, did you see when Bronson Reed jumped his ankle? Yikes. And then even Jimmy and his toe? Yikes. So there's so many things that I feel that the wrestlers put their bodies on the line because it is an unnecessary expectation. You and I, walking into the Survivor Series, was like, I'm expecting this person to jump off a cage. I'm expecting all this because that is what War Games is. And then there's a lot of the furniture and from underneath the ring, all these kinds of factors. I feel that if we just got a traditional match and we saw these 1v1 matchups, like imagine if Roman got tagged in with Jacob Fatu and you're like, ooh, now we get a little taste of Roman and Jacob Fatu. And then you met CM Punk tagging in with Solo Sikoa. You got so many different options and different plays. The Usos going against the Tamatongas and all those kind of fun interactions. I feel the biggest failure of Survivor Series was that we did not get fracture points that we thought we would get. It felt like most of these Survivor Series came to a close, which was not what I was expecting. Going into War Games, I was expecting at the beginning, I was like, oh, we're going to get a Jade and Bianca moment. We're going to get Bayley having some moments. We're going to get... definitely we got the CM Punk and Roman moments, but it was like, had a little gruff. They had a little, Paul Heyman came out, and then it concluded at the end of the match. Sort of, like the little stopping point. So I feel like those are my only gripes about the entire thing, that I think we should reconsider or be open to elimination matches, the traditional Survivor Series.
I agree with you like halfway there.
That's fine.
I'm on board with the men's having been a tradition, like a War Games match. I agree with you. It sucks that people got injured, and it sucks that our expectation of wild moments are so high for these matches, because they really are. Like, expecting a tsunami from the top of the cage, which we got, is just unreasonable and ludicrous, but we got it. We freaking got it. But I will say this, like, when I look at the story building up for the men's War Games, I felt like it was two teams, two sides, two countries going to war with different ideologies that needed to destroy each other. So the moniker of War Games for me worked there. However, what didn't work for me was on the women's side. That one felt like it was a War Games for the sake of meeting the War Games quota. When I looked at the men's, I felt like there was a really cohesive and simple narrative from beginning to end, which was like the up and down, actually mostly down relationship of CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Could they come together? And it eventually leads to those cool moments like Paul Heyman saying, you guys need to come together. This is war. This is war games. We get CM Punk saving Roman Reigns from the monstrous tsunami. But more than anything, it came to a head in that awesome moment at the very end that we wouldn't have gotten if it was a traditional elimination match, which is all the 5 baby faces taking their shots at Solo Sikoa. It's possible. We could have still gotten that in a traditional match if it was everyone eliminated except Solo Sikoa, but then that would have meant the baby faces swept and it would have just made it look really, really bad. So the men's war games, that worked for me. The women's war games, that was a travesty. I thought that was just such a booking mess that could have been salvaged by so many different things, and all of those different things that they could have done to salvage that war games match, they didn't do. You already mentioned it, like the fact that there was no in-match storytelling between the babyface women that hated each other, aside from what, a 2-second little stare down between Io and Bailey, that was it. Aside from that, you could actually make the argument that the babyfaces who all hated each other, they were more of a cohesive unit than the heels were at points, which is just crazy. It's just crazy, because that would have been the easiest way to allow the heels, who have all of these singles women's accolades on there, to walk out with the victory. And even, Sancho, if you really wanted to truly just continue to build your superstars in Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley and give them the victory, you could have at the very least created a memorable moment with the heels with a cash-in. And what have I been saying? Triple H does not know how to book a Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank. He just knows how to execute the cash-in. This is a worse version than Damian Priest. This is colossally stupid version of Tiffany Stratton. It's so silly. The comedy of errors that they make her go through. It's so dumb. It just is. So because they weren't able to execute on the things that I felt could have made a 1, memorable women's War Games match, and 2, a War Games match finish that actually like made sense, to me, this was a throwaway match that is going to be forgotten literally after this episode. The men's War Games match will be remembered. The women's War Games match, absolutely not. It's going to be forgotten. The booking was poor. The match choreography was poor as well. The in-ring storytelling was non-existent, and the surprises that could have made it memorable didn't happen. The women's War Games match was, to me, the low point of that show, and unfortunately it started with that, because I felt like the rest of the show was great in terms of booking, in terms of matches, but a lot of people, and I don't include myself in there, believe that this show was terrible, and I believe it's because it started not very well and it left a poor taste in people's mouth at the very beginning of the show that perhaps carried throughout the rest. So that match, Sancho, I agree with you. That's where I say I halfway agree with you. That one should have just been a traditional Survivor Series elimination match, and let the men's match be the War Games match, right? Like, look at Bad Blood. They didn't do a men's and women's Hell in a Cell match. It didn't warrant it. You just did one, and then let the women do the other stuff that made sense for their existing narratives. Don't force a gimmick if it's not there.
Yeah, we're not saying it's like a women's and men's things, because the cage match between Trish and Becky warranted that cage match, and it was a phenomenal cage match.
This was the first time in 2 years that the men's gimmick match was better than the women's.
Right.
So it's absolutely not a women shouldn't be in War Games. Last year's women's War Games match was freaking fantastic, and the year before that was also fantastic, both better than the men's. It's just that this year, the storytelling, and I think it will be really indicative when we look at that women's Intercontinental Championship bracket. The women's division, especially on Monday Night Raw, was not booked very well to warrant being in a War Games feud.
Right. That's why I think where we both agree on is the traditional match. You would have seen, where can we branch off these feuds? Where can we grow these feuds? You could have still had the Rhea moments where she was a superwoman, doing all those kinds of things work out as well, where you can even have Rhea run the gauntlet, where she goes against 3 other people, right? Build her up that way. And versus doing these spots where I find like they're dipping into the well a little bit too much with Rhea, where she fixes herself, where she shakes off the pain. I mean, she literally looked like Cubone out there. You know what I'm saying? Got the little helmet. Yeah, she was rocking out there. But I found it strange for her to rip it off and then, go out there with you. Like, there's so many narratives within Rhea Ripley that I find strange, but I try to rack my brain, and you could kind of attest to this as well. When it comes to a super baby face, there's a variety of different ways to book them. I'm trying to find a way have you ever seen a baby face be booked where they're constantly hurt or constantly like vulnerable? Like they have a red spot like in Bloodborne or something that you could like a vital critical hitbox to the point where they're always getting that kind of that vulnerability. Like Stone Cold, no one never worked his neck from what I'm trying to remember. No one really worked his knees. He always had a knee brace, but I mean, the only person that I kind of remember is like Bret Hart working his knees, right, for the sharpshooter. But what about John Cena? Like, I never felt like John Cena had that, like, vulnerability, that kryptonite, so to speak. I feel like Rhea walks into every match now nerfed to try to give the other opponent a shot, and I don't think she needs to be nerfed all the time, you know?
Dude, it's a Triple H thing. Triple H loves nerfing his superstars to try, at the very least, give the illusion that it's going to be a close match. Like, how many times have we seen Cody Rhodes go out into a match with what the heck happened to me?
Don't worry about it. I'm trying to fix something.
I know I'm in South America, but that doesn't mean I'm upside down.
Don't worry about it. I'm trying to fix something. Go ahead.
How many times have we seen Cody Rhodes go into a match with rib, braces or like rib bandages to try and nerve him? Dude, so many times we see it. It's a Triple H thing. It's definitely not a Vince McMahon thing. As you said, like Vince McMahon was not a guy to nerf his superstars.
Right.
Like Cena would go out there and he's Super Cena. Seth Rollins, even post a knee injury, was never really like nerfed. Funny enough, the nerfing of Seth Rollins came under Triple H.
Right.
Oh my
God. Nakamura, yeah.
Right. It's a Triple H thing where he likes to nerf his superstars.
Bianca Belair.
To have this grandiose comeback that he nerfs his superstars. I've never noticed it until you pointed it out.
It blows my mind. Like Bianca Belair with her knee. Every time her knee gets blown out or something happens with her knee. I mean, Gunther's starting to get nerfed with his chops. If he starts working accidentally chops a ring post, he starts getting nerfed. Like it's a strange thing to do because it then cheapens or it protects the face if they lose, like Rhea, but then it cheapens the heel who overcomes the face or does damage. Like I don't understand. Like if a heel works to the eye, right? Say Raquel Rodriguez, who in Monday Night Raw literally shoved Rhea into the table, right, into the orbital eye bone. Don't let Rhea recover from that like a week later, or don't let her recover that match or overcome it, because it's just. I mean, how are you going to stop her, right? How are you going to hurt her? How are you going to make sure, what I like to say, like there's in screenwriting, it's called save the cat. How are you going to make people feel sorry for Rhea? Because now the expectation is she's going to truck through everything.
Dude, I mean, we don't even have to go that far back. We can go to the attack on the original attack on the orbital bone in the NXT parking lot with the bat.
Most dangerous parking lot in the world. Don't go through it.
Most dangerous. It truly is.
Don't do it.
Here's the thing, and I love Rhea Ripley. I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan. I feel like right now the women's division would be better if Rhea Ripley had been selling this injury until her return at Raw Netflix. I don't think that she needed to come back this early. I really, really didn't. And her coming back this early cheapens the original injury and cheapens the danger of both Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. So if you wanted Rhea Ripley for Survivor Series War Games, why put yourself in that corner to write her off only to bring her back in the same PLE cycle? You know what I mean? If you were going to write her off, you should just actually like fully dive in and write her off for a significant amount of time where you can buy into the injury.
And at the same time, really build up Liv Morgan's new persona with her walking around with the bat.
Absolutely, 100%. Because she used to walk around with the bat as part of the Riot Squad, so there's like a little bit of a callback there with her Harley Quinn-esque persona. But yeah, dude, I'm with you on there. Look at that, we're agreeing on things, Joe.
I told you. I had a feeling, Santi. I was like, I cannot, we're going to get to it, I know, but I cannot have, I have to have Santi on this train because this New Day story is going to go somewhere where we can't have this pity pat between us. You know what I mean? We have to be on the same page for this because it's astral plane. It's like beyond wrestling. That's where the New Days are. And I would have been dumb to be like, the whole pod be like, no, you're not allowed on the train, Santi. It would have been so dumb to have that spat over it. But to continue with War Games, I feel the only thing I have to push back with you on is I think the OG Bloodline versus Bloodline could have used elimination, because imagine if it boiled down to Roman versus Solo, brother, at the very end of the day. But I think the narrative going into it, needing War Games, is the fallout that CM Punk has a favor, right? CM Punk has a favor in the chamber that obviously he wants the main event at WrestleMania, and Paul Heyman can politic his way to it. It'd be interesting to see if Paul Heyman's in his corner for that main event in WrestleMania, if CM Punk is the heel. But yeah, I think overall between the two War Games matches, I feel like the pacing is strange. I think the War Games kind of, I guess, model or template or the rules that 5 minutes is such a long time. And when you see the 5 minute timer, you're like, oh, you're like, oh.
Well, Sancho, do you think that there could be a happy medium? Something I suggested, it could still be War Games style, but the match starts right at the beginning.
Yeah,
if you get pinned, you're out. You're just out. Like, we don't have to do away with the two-sided ring with the cage. But I think a fair complaint is that the War Games match feels meaningless until everyone is in.
Oh yeah. I don't record my reaction until the end. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until, unless like a train wreck happens out of nowhere. But I kind of like pace myself because I know the crescendo is gonna be chaotic. Because once everybody's in, the match, like all the way in, and then the last 10 minutes of the match is the ending, basically. And it's a fun ending. Don't get me wrong, and I enjoy it. And I know you may be like, guys, you guys are complaining about that, but I think that it's something you could kind of put a microscope under. And if you want to make War Games better, maybe you do add that elimination factor where. Imagine if it was Nia Jax started off, which was always strange. Like, why let your champion start off in a disadvantage? By the way, imagine if Nia got the first pin on somebody, and it was Nia just dominating the War Games, waiting for someone to step in. Like, that would be a fun thing. And the same thing with Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline OG. Like, imagine if it was Jacob Fatu holding down the line by himself. There's so many different factors that they could have done, but. We had it, and I'm just hoping that the people that participated, the injuries are not too severe. And that Bronson Reed, I know what he tweeted out. He said, like, injuries are temporary, but moments are forever. Again, he made a moment of survivorship, but God, that's a lot of weight.
Dude, don't you kind of like want to like hide in a bush, like Homer Simpson style, or hide in the shadows for suggesting, please, we want the tsunami off the top of the cage, and then we got it. We're like, oh, that's so much more violent than we were expecting. Oh no.
I mean, we're not mathematicians here, man. We're not physicists. That's a lot of mass coming down, a lot of gravity, dude. I did not expect that. It was cool though. I thought CM Punk was late, but he was just literally in the nick of time, like literally the closest you've ever been in your life to save Roman.
I thought for a second that he was so late that
Roman had to get off himself.
I thought that Bronson caught Roman's ankles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought that he caught his ankles, and I was like, oh no, we broke the Tribal Chief's ankles with the tsunami.
But that was fun. I agree with you that the whole CM Punk Roman thing, where it was like, will they, won't they? The whole bit in the cage, I thought that was fun. Every moment.
Oh, it was so good, man. The memes that have come out of it when they're on opposite ends of the cage, refusing to look at each other. One of the memes that I saw was just like when your girlfriend/wife makes you hang out with her friend's husband. And
it's so like, true, dude.
I got nothing in common with you, dude.
It's so true. It's like you don't even on the same team. You don't like the same team. Maybe they don't watch football, and definitely they don't watch pro wrestling, bro. There's nothing like when because it's always the same conversation when you're talking to another person your age, and then you're like, oh, so what do you watch? Watch wrestling. Like, oh, it's not real. Like, oh, here we go.
Oh,
here we go, brother. We're gonna walk down this path, and you know what? They're robbing themselves of some great television. You can't tell me if you put that Big E moment with Kofi and Xavier that they would not realize that was some of the best things in television of the year.
I know we so desperately want to go there, but let's keep talking about
you're
Survivor
Triple H
Series.
booking it. I see how you do it.
Yeah. We're doing little baby steps. I'm doing cooking that smells awful, but the payoff will be fantastic, and that's all you'll talk about. Nakamura the new United States champion. What? Whoa. It was my reaction, first of all. Wild to finally see Nakamura get a moment that we never thought was going to be possible under the current regime that just seemed to book Nakamura into oblivion. But man, new entrance theme that rocks, new entrance in general that makes him look like a Sekiro / Bloodborne boss. You got the blood moon back there, the smoke, the Shogun helmet, the traditional Japanese like stance in the middle of the ring. Like, this doesn't feel like the Nakamura that we've become accustomed to. This feels like something new altogether. And although the feud, if you could even call it that, frankly, was incredibly rushed, I still somehow feel like this was a justified finish because of how long we've been waiting for the Nakamura moment. It does kind of sting that it's at the expense of LA Knight. We don't know where it's going to go. Obviously, it could still go in really interesting directions. It could go maybe like LA Knight's just better at chasing. Maybe LA Knight gets moved over to Raw because of Raw Netflix. Maybe LA Knight gets moved into the world title picture. There's so many things that could happen here. But what a bittersweet moment, right? To see LA Knight lose clean fairly quickly, but also wonderful seeing Shinsuke Nakamura get what I feel has been earned.
Hi, everybody. Here at the Glaze Factory, we're now a Spirit Halloween. We have a Spirit of Children sale. You can save 10% off your entire purchase, and Spirit gives 10% to your local partner hospital. Use checkout code COC10. Also, if you're feeling festive here at the Spirit Halloween, we do Christmas, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, we do a great Christmas thing. We're not sponsored by Spirit Halloween, but this is unfortunately what has happened to the Glaze Factory. If you would like a Darth Maul full mass Star Wars, $59.99. Come on,
Are you
by.
on the Spirit Halloween site for this bit?
No, I'm sorry. This is what we've become. Also, Merry Artmas. If you're a big fan of the Terrifier, we got animatronics as well. Only $199.
Do you guys have any Five Nights at Freddy's stuff?
Oh, FNAF? Absolutely, sir.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hang on.
Yes.
The hell up.
Yes.
What did you just call it?
FNAF.
You call it FNAF?
Yeah, FNAF.
It's FNAF.
FNAF?
FNAF. Don't ever. This is a safe place, and I'm trying to just save you from your own embarrassment. Never call it FNAF ever again. It's FNAF.
I'm sorry here, sir. I'm new at the Spirit Halloween. Okay, just please bear with me.
I was the CEO of the Glaze Factory. Now I'm just working retail.
This is not an undercover boss situation here. I'm not the CEO of the Spirit Factory. We got the kids Glam Rock Freddy costume for $44.99. That's a popular one. If you want the adult Freddy Fazbear, is it Fazbear or Fazbear? Fazbear?
It's Fazbear.
Okay.
It's Fazbear.
Jumpsuit only $44.99. So. It's a great time here at Spirit Halloween. If you're coming by for the glaze, I'm sorry, we're no longer selling glaze. We're all out of glaze. It went out the window when LA Knight stormed into that ring, dropped the belt literally at the apron, the hardest part of the ring. Actually, I knew Nakamura was gonna win when I saw the entrance. I was like, yeah, LA Knight's done. Like, dude, it gave me a little goosebumps just for like a second, because it felt like. They were like, hey, how can we bring back a Taker-like entrance with a realistic type of guy? And for some reason, even though it is very surface level, like very cliche, the things that they're bringing out, right? Blood Moon, Oni mask, Shogun helmet. It works. Like,
it works, brother. It really does.
And the new song works really well, too. But I think what's the best part of it is Shinsuke's makeup is cool. And the way he saunters around the ring works really well. And the brutality of Shinsuke. And let's be fair, though. It wasn't a clean win. He did eye gouge him. Okay? Hey! Hey! He did Shut!
I don't even know why you're fighting this. You're a Spirit Halloween. You're a Spirit Halloween, bro.
Okay. Hold on.
Just put the costume in the bag, bro. Just put the costume in the bag.
We also have a 7-foot Ringmaster animatronic for 24% off.
We're still on this.
Go on by $24.99. But yeah, dude, by the way, that Scorpion death drop that LA Knight took on the metal apron, which is the hardest part of the ring of the War Games.
It's even harder.
Even harder. That was nuts. It felt like his head was like on the bottom of that, but hear me out. Is this a safe place?
It is a safe place. Go ahead.
Okay.
Spirit Halloween retail employee number 3.
The FNAF.
FNAF. Wait, do you say SNES or SNES?
SNES. Of course.
All right.
Of course.
All right.
I
I have to confirm because you said FNAF.
It's not my fault. I escaped the brain rot of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Well, you don't know about the bite of 87?
Oh no, I do not. Please tell me, Matt. Pat.
All right. Please sit down.
Can I? All right.
Sit down
He's
for
not
the next
dead.
3 hours.
Go ahead. I'll eat this real quick. Go ahead.
The bite of 87, the inciting incident at Freddy Fazbear Pizza in 1987, where the owner of the establishment took several kids in the. I actually don't know the full story. I was about to make it up. I know there's like 55 parts on the bite of 87 alone, but I just can't remember. Scott something. I don't know. He killed some kids. And then an animatronic bit a kid. I think like the animatronic. Okay, so it's this dude killed a bunch of kids. Then the spirits of the kids took over the animatronics of the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And then one of those animatronics bit another kid or something and killed it.
No, and this is a.
Am I wrong? I might have just made that up.
And this is a game for children.
It's not for children, bro. FNAF is for adults. You haven't seen the PG-13 horror movie with PETA from the Hunger Games?
No, I haven't. That sounds pretty. So as I was saying, hear me out.
Okay, go.
Raw on Netflix needs some fun megastars, right? I think LA Knight gets shifted to Raw. Nakamura stays on SmackDown. And who, my friend, would be a great kind of face for Nakamura?
John Cena.
No.
Coming back.
Get out of here.
To reclaim the United States Championship.
No. AJ Styles, when he comes back from injury, would be perfect. Let Nakamura run. Let Nakamura run roughshot. Let Nakamura scared pretty deadly. Oh, that'd be so fun, right? Let him do all that kind of stuff, and then AJ Styles comes in, and that'd be a great way to get AJ Styles, get him a championship belt, put some gold on him early. And that way you don't sacrifice LA Knight to AJ.
And maybe it's an opportunity to redo the past wrongdoings of AJ Styles versus Nakamura.
Yes, that's what I mean.
The feud that never really was in the WWE. I think the only wrinkle in your plan here is that AJ Styles was scheduled to be out for like a whole year.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Let Nakamura, let him run wild, let him run roughshot, let him have a dominant run, because I believe that this Nakamura is unbeatable. Now, on the other foot, the Glaze Factory could come back, and this could just be an ongoing feud. But why have LA Knight kind of lose kind of clean, even though the eye gouge? I was expecting a Poison Mist to come in again.
So was I.
Because that would have been much more tolerable to digest as an LA Knight glazer. But I think what happened, my theory, and it's not a game theory. No, he's not dead. I believe that LA Knight got hit with the anti-glaze the night before. The anti-glaze is the Poison Mist. And all
that's
of
the anti-glaze?
The anti-glaze, yes, sir. Put him out of commission.
So I got a question for you. When it comes to
glaze?
Kind of, yes. It actually would be kind of about the glaze here. Okay. How do you feel about the Glaze Factory needing to shut down? How do you feel about LA Knight losing the United States title to something that didn't really have a fledged out feud, when we are now in the era of like maybe overly fledged out feuds? We had something that was undercooked deliver a major moment. It's kind of a Vince McMahon formula.
True.
It's very not much Triple H. You know, Triple H loves extending storylines as far as he possibly can. This is not normal. The way that this storyline played out, how quick the return was it really just to demonstrate to the world this Nakamura is different, this Nakamura is bad, and you need to pay attention to this Nakamura. It's not the same old shtick all over again. Or is this Triple H trying to find a happy medium of giving us long-term storytelling and some quick gratifications as well?
That's a good question, because the IC title has that kind of stickiness to it. And I think it's interesting that perhaps they saw that LA Knight just doesn't have anyone to go up against, and they wanted to kind of just eject some excitement into the United States title, because who can he do open challenges with? He was running out of people very fast. I mean, his next stop would have been Austin Theory, Grayson Waller. No one wants to see that. I think having a Nakamura be the guy, be this spirit, this wandering samurai, could be something that could go a long way. And at the same time, I think he either gives LA Knight something to chase, or they just put LA Knight into Raw, which is already kind of crowded. But if it goes to 3 hours, I think LA Knight on Raw would give him some options to go at least to the heavyweight title. I mean, I think we're treating this unfairly. Traditionally, when we see the mid-card champion lose, it's like on to better things. And I find it unfair that a lot of people don't see that for LA Knight. They don't see him, all right, cool, this frees him up to do something else. It's either like, oh, he's in shambles, or he's going to chase the United States title again. I think the third option is he could go after the heavyweight title. Why not?
Yeah, I don't think that that's unrealistic. And personally, I feel like that would be such a juxtaposition of a character like Gunther that I'm interested in seeing Gunther and LA Knight in like a proper storyline being told. He's like the anti-Gunther in so many different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is so many different directions to take LA Knight. Almost to the point, Sancho, that I don't want him to go after Nakamura.
No.
I don't want Nakamura to, like, I get it. It would be valuable for Nakamura to get that second victory over LA Knight, which is kind of traditional to cement that new championship reign. But they didn't do it with Jey Uso losing. You know, he didn't get another crack at it and then lose again. They moved on from that Jey Uso IC title storyline, so he can go on and do bigger things that led to him having the main event entrance on a team that even had CM Punk and Roman Reigns, for God's sake. I think that doing a rematch for LA Knight to lose would just do too much damage to LA Knight at this point, that we should just move on.
Yeah.
You know, you already didn't have a very cohesive story to begin with, so why start one now when you've already pulled the trigger on like the climax of what the story could have led to, right? You already jumped to the end of the book. Why try and backtrack and go to the middle of the story and restart a narrative when like I said, we already read the end of the book? So let's just move on LA Knight to better things. Let's put the Glaze factory and under construction. It's the holiday season, you know, you guys shut down for December. It's just a lot of companies do that. We come back in January, Raw for Netflix, and you guys are open right back for business. Spirit Halloween leaves and you're back to glazing everyone around the world, making everybody a happy glazed customer.
It's like pumpkin spice lattes, bro.
They go, right? They come and go.
They come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Come and go.
Let's quickly move on to the World Heavyweight Championship match here. I really don't think that there's too much to talk about. Gunther versus Damian Priest. I felt like this was just a significantly worse everything versus their SummerSlam match. It was here's the thing, the match wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's just it was a significant downgrade from their freaking classic at SummerSlam. And then the swerve was a significantly less impactful, worse swerve than the one at SummerSlam.
Yeah, good point.
It was
there.
just a bad sequel. It was I Know What You Did Last Summer Part 2, dude. It was just the same
that's
beats,
not the
but
title.
bad.
The title is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
You're right. It really was I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Because they just did the same formula, but just worse in every single way. When you look at the match, it was significantly far less hard-hitting than the SummerSlam match.
Right.
It was less dramatic to a degree. And then the surprise at the end of the Finn Balor attack to prevent Damian Priest from winning was like not even close, like infinitely more impactful at SummerSlam, to the point where we were talking like, whoa, Finn Balor to the world championship picture immediately, let's go. And then they did nothing with it. But that was a shock that ended a faction, ended a friendship, and ended a championship reign. This was an attack that did nothing. It literally like just restarted a cold feud between Finn and Damian Priest. We can kind of intertwine the Raw stuff with this because I also feel like it is kind of pointless and I'm just not interested in Finn Balor versus Gunther. And that's kind of crazy to say because Finn Balor is at this point the president of the coulda, woulda, shoulda club, right? Everybody's saying it could have been Finn Balor. It should have been Finn Balor. Why not Finn Balor? And they're picking a time where it just shouldn't be him because he is cold as ice, dude. Terrible tag team champion, Finn Balor, taking losses left, right, and center. And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe that he's this threat to Gunther with this beatdown that seems kind of out of left field. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. This is a disservice to the Finn Balor coulda, woulda, shoulda club. They needed to find a better moment for Finn Balor, not this Saturday night's main event match that Sancho, it's just gonna be I still kind of know what you did last summer, part 3, because Damian Priest is now going to be the killer, the fishhook killer, and he's going to prevent Finn Balor from winning. It's going to be the same damn formula. This is a disservice to Finn Balor. Those are my thoughts. Was it a safe place? I didn't check if it was a safe place. That's also my hot take.
Dude, I still know what you did last summer has a 7% Rotten Tomatoes rating.
Is there a part 3?
I don't know. That's what I was looking at right now.
I think there is. It's probably a direct to DVD.
Oh, dude, like, people don't know what they're missing out on those direct to DVDs. Oh, I always know what you did last summer. Dude,
I think we found the perfect analogy for Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
Don't
it literally
do
is.
That.
It's just the I know what you did last summer like trilogy, or I don't know, maybe there's four movies, I don't know, because just like the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, it was a cult classic, it was a great 90s slasher. The SummerSlam stuff was great and super memorable, and then the follow-ups of everything after that has just been piss poor. Raging piss.
No, I don't want you, I don't want you to do this to yourself. We both said this before in the longest time, that the Judgment Day or Microwave Man, they could get hot at any moment. They could get hot at any moment. And Finn Balor
I'm not jumping off the train.
No, I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying
I'm not jumping off the train.
Don't celebrate. Don't put Finn Balor in the ground yet, dude, because all he doesn't need that much to get hot again, man. He doesn't need that. He's being portrayed as this lame-ass leader because that's what they want you to believe, because that's leading up to Dominic Mysterio usurping Finn Balor, because he's being this cheesy, like, when you believe in Finn, we win. That's kind of the kind of stuff that he's saying right now.
That's how it's done, kid. That's how it's done.
I just really do believe that Finn Balor deserves a title. Like, he really does. But I know what you're going to say is, like, just because you deserve it, that doesn't mean it makes sense logically, story-wise.
Right now, like I said, I love Finn Balor, coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda of the century, right? This is just not the right moment. This isn't it. This doesn't do anything for anybody right now, because we just know that this is a stopgap to continue to develop Finn Balor versus Damian Priest.
And you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that anymore.
I'm done, bro. I was done with it when Priest won a Bad Blood. Finn should have won a Bad Blood. I think we all agree on that, right? Like, feud was over.
Let me remind you. What you did
last summer ended right there. You killed the killer.
It was a coup de grace to the back, a coup de grace again, and Damian still kicked out.
That's why I lost interest in it.
Yeah, dude.
So, like, I'm good with Finn Balor. If it was an actual Finn Balor push, Sancho, I'd be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But you and I know you see it.
I know.
This is just to push Damian again.
I know. And he didn't need it. He didn't need this push, because he was, I think right now what's missing from Damian is his in-ring is fine, but he just needs to find some moments outside of the ring, like the lineup talking about he's the Street King. Like, that's the kind of moments he needs to grow into more. He needs to find those kind of backstage segments, those great promos to build off of, because his in-ring's phenomenal. His in-ring's great. He doesn't need to do anything else different.
Sancho, in the ring, you might be a general, but in the streets, I'm the king.
But I thought you were going to say, like, but in the sheets, I'm a freak. Wait a minute. Whoa, Damien. Wait. Damien, well, hello. Oh, hello, Damien. Where have you been? there's just so many good things that I think that Damian Priest is untapped yet, and it's not in the ring. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm hopefully, I don't know. I think what it is as well is I'm not buying Finn Balor and Damian as brothers. Like, they didn't really have that vibe to me. I would buy if this was happening, if it was a Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest, because then it's like, oh my God, it's this father figure again, kind of screwing over Dominic. Like, there's so many interesting stories out of that one. And this whole notion of Finn Balor, I think you're correct about it building up to Damian Priest, but I think it's building up to more a split between Finn and Dominic.
I hope so. I'm really entertained by the Dominic and Finn Balor dynamic. I love Dominic Mysterio just sort of being this like nonchalant, like, dude, shut up, uncle, like look that he's got to him the entire time when Finn Balor's just yapping away. Let's move on to the IC title match. Oh, you want to hit something else?
Can we just talk about Dominic real quick? And Gunther?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do that here real quick. My God, dude. Have you ever seen a Dominic Dirty Dom chant? Ever? Did you think we would get here this early?
Dude, I am the world's premier Dominic Mysterio investor. Do you know how many Dominic Mysterio stocks I have purchased over the last couple of years? And I've been telling people that this stock is going to the moon.
Yeah.
Sancho, have you been purchasing your Dominic Mysterio options? Good.
I have.
Good. I'm glad, because they're about to skyrocket. Diamond hands, buddy. We're here. We're in the precipice.
It reminds me of that scene in Wolf of Wall Street. He's like, if you tell me, show me your paycheck and I'll quit my job right now. That is what's happening. But I'm just shocked that in traditional wrestling, when it comes to, like, it doesn't need a promo, it doesn't need this crazy heel turn, face turn. It's just in-ring traditional guy beating the crap out of the other dude, and you start feeling sorry for him. And then you start rooting for him, because that is the chemistry that Gunther and Dom have. Like, it is natural that Gunther has this, like, I could beat you in any moment. And Dominic is just like, bring it on. I'm not afraid of you. I'm going to be here no matter what. And their dynamic is so engaging. It's so fun to watch. Every slap they do back and forth, every time Dom sells like he's just been hit with a cannon, is so fun. And then that power bomb finish that Gunther hit, it's just like their bodies are made for each other. And I love it. In that day, when that day comes, I think Triple H is testing the waters, man. He's like, will this be a good pop? And I think that's what Triple H chases, is that generational pop. If Gunther lost to Dominic, and whether it's with a low blow plus a frog splash and all that stuff, which it was building up in that Raw, it's going to be a huge moment in history.
It really, really will. There was a moment, man, that I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah,
like you said,
right?
the low blow into the frog splash, I was like, oh. I was believing it. But Dominic Mysterio is still so far removed from reaching his prime. There's just so much more room to grow, and we see growth from this guy, like, on a week by week basis. He just improves pretty much every aspect of being a WWE superstar, whether it's in ring, his, like, right now, the thing that's just improved so dramatically is his background character work, where he's not the one with the microphone, where he's just like doing things, his facial expressions, the way that he's becoming this, like, magnet of the camera. He's becoming a magnet of eyeballs, even when he's not supposed to be the magnet. He's not the guy with the microphone. He's not the guy that's the current focal point. Even in the background, you're paying attention to him. For God's sake, Sancho, his Cyber Sunday commercial that he had
so good.
Was so good. Even that he's nailing. He just is improving every single week at every aspect of being a WWE superstar. The ceiling is Empire State Building levels of high right now for Dominic Mysterio. And good thing I bought low, baby. I'm gonna be rich.
Wait, when did you buy in though? Like, when was it that you go like, okay, this is gonna work? Was it WrestleMania 39?
Nope, I bought in the second he low blowed Edge in the nuts at Clash at the Castle 2022. Day one, I bought in.
Ooh, babyface Dom.
Yeah, like that right there. I was like, okay, I'm sold. I'm in. He's separating himself from see, I can't even remember his name. He's such a deadbeat. Rey Mysterio. I was in for a penny, in for a pound.
I remember when they took him away to jail. And I feel sorry for Dom. Dude, but really think about it. Dominic is probably the only wrestler that could capture the young demographic that is not a female wrestler.
Dude, 100%.
Right?
He is the flag bearer of Gen Z.
Right?
He is the flag bearer of Gen Z, and that's really important.
Right?
Like getting the younglings, getting the youngsters into professional wrestling with a character that they can relate to is huge.
I think for me, the biggest, like, okay, this is going to work is when his Dominic Mysterio character worked with Liv Morgan. Because that told me it doesn't need Rhea Ripley. It is its own thing. And the fact that when he had those moments where he was just by himself and he's like, I don't need you. I have my PlayStation, my attendees. I'm like, all right, this gets the joke, right? And then what also works for Dominic Mysterio is that I feel that he's such a legacy person and that people will give him respect that when he's on interviews like the Chris Van Vliet, he could be kayfabe because the dude's wrestling. His whole life has been wrestling. He's been in the WWE since he was 8 years old.
Longest tenured employee, folks.
You think
I actually don't know if that's
You think
true.
he got paid?
He that's true. He got paid as a kid.
No. And then Dom got his check. And then I
took his paycheck. We were thinking the same thing.
Dude, that'd be a cool storyline. That'd be kind of like a Hollywood storyline where Dominic discovered that Ray took all his money. Oh my God. Damn, we're booking. We're booking.
Yeah, we're cooking here. Shall we wrap up Survivor Series?
Yes.
Intercontinental Championship match. This is probably the one that we have the least to talk about, but it was just a good ass match, dude. It was just a good ass match. That's all I got to say about it, honestly.
I just remember that moment where we predicted that Sheamus would get his hope spot, and boy, oh boy, was that such a hope spot. I mean, Braun Breaker continues to, what I said, he grows every time, and the crowd keeps barking with him every single time. Oh. And it's amazing that they have this budding superstar that it's a first ballot Hall of Famer that gets everything right, and his promos are so different from everybody, and they don't have that same kind of cadence. He's just like, hey, I'm gonna go out there and beat your ass. Like, that's literally what he says.
Sancho, can you guess who I am? Can you guess who I am based on the promo cadence?
Okay.
All right. Sancho, you are the host of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. You are a
Cody
great
Rhodes.
host. You are a fantastic host. And I just don't believe that you know that you're a fantastic. That's Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Who else do I have here? Sancho.
Let's go there. Come on, Scooter.
All right.
Wait, hit me with the Ray.
With a Ray.
The Ray promo.
Sancho, you're a great host. You're a fantastic host of Wrestling is Cool. You're one of the best hosts that I've ever seen. You really need to believe in yourself more. When you believe in the power of yourself,
a little more Spanish.
You're really going to...
A little more Spanish in there.
You're really going to flourish, eh?
No.
Not that.
Speak Spanish, you idiot. You said Spanish
that's right.
too. Yeah,
that's right.
There you go.
Sancho, tú eres un great host.
You are like.
All right. Who else can I do here?
I got one for you.
Okay, hit me. Go.
Santi, tonight.
That would be the game.
Question: how much water do you think Triple H has spit out in his lifetime?
Ooh, dude, we should do the math on that,
right.
just like we did for Rikishi Stink Faces. Can you finish your thought on the Intercontinental Championship match real quick?
Yeah, figure out how much ounces of water are in a bottle, and then
I got this, dude. I'm gonna figure out the math.
So what I liked about the IC title is that it delivered on all fronts, and it was exactly what I was looking for when it comes to PLEs. It needs to splinter some stories, and it definitely added more to Sheamus, and it gave us some more hopeful opportunities for him at Mania, and it let everybody know that they want to see him win the IC title and that he definitely could have it in his bag. I think Ludwig Kaiser as well is becoming one of those heels that hasn't been around in a while where they're willing to go that deep and to be that much of a terrible nuisance around the ring. Him pulling out the ref all those kinds of things. The shillelagh spot breaking Sheamus's ribs. There's so much stuff there. And then he had a promo on Monday Night Raw. It was like a rib for a rib. That's the kind of stuff that I'm enjoying from Ludwig Kaiser. But I'm just hoping that Braun Breaker continues to go on his path and that he doesn't slow down. And I'm letting people know, and we always have this notion of, oh, this person was buried. LA Knight, was he buried? No. It just depends on what his next step is. If his next step is going up against Nakamura and he loses, then he's buried. Then we can have a justified argument. But if Braun Breaker, who we did see lose the IC title, and he got it back quickly, just shows us that that wasn't a way to necessarily demote him. It was just a way to keep him moving, like a turbo boost. And that I'm hoping that the next time, if he loses to Sheamus at Mania for the IC title, that it's just going to turbo boost him into the heavyweight title, because he's already called out Gunther. But yes, Santi.
I don't think that we're going to be able to do this, Matt, but I know how to do it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
We're not smart enough. We're not smart.
Yeah. So I confirmed that he first started spitting water in early 1999. So we just need to figure out how many matches he's had since 1999.
Okay.
And then we need to figure out how many ounces of water are in a water bottle, and then multiply the number of matches by the amount of ounces.
But how many sips of water? Like, he just takes a sip. The dude is
that's right.
The dude, he doesn't chug the whole thing. This dude is
I didn't think of that.
He's like a master
he's a
nebulizer,
master sipper?
like a nebulizer, dude. This guy just takes a little bit and he just, it's a little geyser. So let me try Chat GPT. Okay.
I already did, bro. I already did.
Chat GPT doesn't know how many matches the Triple H has been?
It doesn't know. It says, I don't know. I can't browse this.
Oh, you suck, Chat GPT.
I know. Right, I know, dude. It was the first thing I thought of.
Let's just think. Okay. Let's just think. Let's just say he's been in since what? Let's say
the water spitting is the water spitting since 1999.
Okay, water spitting since 1999, because he wasn't Hunter Hearst Helmsley would never dare spit water.
He would never.
Yes. Yes. It's 1999. The game started spitting water, and then we can't forget about all his appearances. He spits water there too. So
dude, yeah, this might be an incalculable one.
Do you think if we asked him this question, he would give us a legit answer, or he would just think we're stupid?
He'd probably tell us about how the previous WWE gate was a record breaker.
I have to think it's at least more than 100 gallons. Is that too high?
I don't know. I don't. We might need to put this to the patrons or to the YouTube comments.
Do you think it's more than one of those big water bottle thingies that you dispense water with in the office?
Over a career, absolutely.
Okay. That size, I'm thinking 15 bottles of that. That seems right. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. But Survivor Series in its whole, I thought was a herky-jerky show. And I think that if it wasn't for LA Knight losing his title, and if it wasn't for the OG Bloodline versus Bloodline, that whole back and forth, and as we did predicted that CM Punk would win with Roman, and I don't know, it's a strange PLE that like we mentioned, I think would have benefited for a little bit more traditionalism out here.
It was a strange PLE because they were just holding so many things for Saturday night's main event. Saturday night's main event is cannibalize a lot of the hype of Survivor Series.
My final question for you is: do you think Cody Rhodes not being on this PLE hurts Cody Rhodes' legacy? And what's funny to me is every time people talk about Cody Rhodes in a critical way, I always hear people go, this and this and this. I'm not a Cody hater, but, and they go into this whole spiel. But I do find it a bummer that Cody was not at Survivor Series. He should be there.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer because they had the next best built storyline at that moment, right. Aside from the Bloodline story, that was the best built storyline with multiple characters like Randy, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. Under 99.99% of situations, which is where Saturday night's main event doesn't exist, that's of course on the Survivor Series card without a single shadow of a doubt. That's why I'm saying that it cannibalized a lot of the hype of Survivor Series. I just feel like Survivor Series was aggressively okay. It wasn't bad. It was totally okay. And I felt like WWE knew that they didn't have a banger show. That's why they tried to to kind of rope-a-dope you into staying to the very, very end by making you believe that there could be another return like a last year's Survivor Series. And funnily enough, that pissed off a lot of people. It didn't piss me off. I didn't really care. But like I saw the narrative on Twitter. A lot of people were pissed off at how much they milked that. Dude, did you notice that CM Punk went to the back?
And they were like, hey, go back out there.
Go back out there and do your Fortnite emote. Like, you're not done, brother. So I really thought that that was very much on purpose. They knew what they were doing. They knew that we were going to hang on the expectations of another huge return in Survivor Series, and they had nothing to deliver. It's like that episode of the Office where Michael Scott says that there's a surprise at the end of the day, and then it ends up just being ice cream sandwiches, and then everybody's like, oh, thanks for the ice cream sandwiches, but like, this isn't the surprise, right? No, totally not. Like, it was a weird way to end the show.
Basically, this Survivor Series it is your birthday. That's all it was. But I think that the whole tease about The Rock and all that kind of stuff, I think what's strange to me is you said Fortnite emote. I'm like, brother, CM Punk would be awesome in Fortnite. Come on, dude. This would be a sick emote to hit on somebody after you knock them out. Boom. Ooh. Woo. Oh, that's good. Okay, Fortnite emotes. One, I thought of this, okay, because I play Fortnite a lot. All right, I am a caster for Fortnite. The top Fortnite emotes that were WWE inspired would be the two little chug splashes with Stone Cold. You do that. Randy Orton, that'd be amazing. A Roman Reigns, ooh, wow, would be fantastic. What else? Let's see. No. I would love a Kane one. That'd be cool. A little thing. Cactus Jack Bang Bang would be fantastic. I'd like the Stone Cold talking trash to someone on the right when they're knocked down. That'd be a cool one. There you go. A little bit of that. Oh, D'Lo.
I don't have the neck mobility for it. Were you about to say D'Lo Brown when you saw me doing this?
Yeah, D'Lo would be great. I find it odd that it's interesting. I feel like the Attitude Era has a lot more emote-based kind of stuff more than so now. Like, I think of Godfather and this, like, doing the digga, right? I think of that. But there's like, do you feel like this era does all John Cena's "You Can't See Me"? That was kind of a big
Batista.
One. Oh, dude,
the thumbs down.
I'm in the 2005 era of Royal Rumble in that run. Batista's a freak, man.
He's a monster. Dude, he's a monster.
I could see why when I watched the Royal Rumble in 2005, I was like, yeah, I could see why Batista had it. And we treated him so poorly when he came back, brother.
I keep saying that, man. Like, funny enough, we've talked about this before. It was Cena's fault for creating the you are not us narrative with The Rock.
Do you think that we're going to scare away Vanessa Hudgenson?
No, I feel like wrestling fans might, but like she's a through and through wrestling fan. She's been a fan for a long time.
Okay, it's not a Kat Dennings situation, is it?
I don't know who that is.
You never heard Kat Dennings? So Kat Dennings tweeted out, "Oh, I think I like." She was like, "I think I like this WWE. What is this? Like, I enjoy it." And then this was during, I think, Mania, build up to the Cody Rhodes story, 39. And people were like, "No, if you like wrestling, why watch WWE? You should watch AEW." And it was just like, good Lord, don't scare away someone that is similarly cool out of the universe away from us, you little heathens, you little toads. So when I saw Vanessa Hudgenson, shout out to you, saying wrestling is cool. We thank you.
Dude, how great of a wrestling podcast name is this? Like, we get to use people saying wrestling is cool as just free advertising. It's great.
The Rock was close. He said pro wrestling is cool. And I think
we take it. I
think The Rock knew that we existed because he couldn't say wrestling is cool.
We would have sued his ass. we would have sued the people's ass.
That's right. We would have came after you, the final boss. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to see all these celebrities come around, and it's just gonna get bigger and bigger, man. I feel like this next WrestleMania you're gonna have someone that you did not expect to appear. But hey, Survivor Series is done. We're on to better pastures. Monday Night Raw was around the corner. Can we finally talk about what I've been wanting to talk about?
You can lead this. Go ahead.
As the conductor of the New Day train with the new passenger, Santi Zap. The reason why I want to talk about this in a different light. I don't want to talk about heels and faces, because you could say, yes, this was a heel turn. But I find in the Triple H era and the Renaissance era, it's about moral compasses, Santi. And I think if you could ask me, is Xavier Woods a bad guy? No. Is Kofi Kingston a bad guy? No. Is Seth Rollins a bad guy? Yes. But their moral compasses are aligned differently. Right now, Xavier's and Kofi's moral compass was corrupted by Karrion Kross. And because of that corruption, you sympathize and you're sad that these guys are going down the wrong path. And so their moral compass is pointing towards heel. Whereas Seth Rollins, who is traditionally a bad guy, who turned on his mate, on Roman Reigns. And I love that Sammy and oh, dude, that was so good. We'll go more on that later. But Seth Rollins, who's been an authority figure, an architect, who's always been a weasel for the longest time, who's a traditional heel, his moral compass is good. So he fights for good and he fights for what's right, right? And I find that this is what makes Triple H booking so fascinating to me, is that when you see someone who's been good for so long go heel, it's not this traditional, like, I'm a bad guy. And you're not going to see Xavier and Kofi like come out here, all these people are just idiots and they stink. Like, they're not going to do that. It's a nuance heel turn. This is a psychological heel turn. They obliterated Big E, not with super kicks and troubles in paradises and lost in the woods and none of that. They beat this man's soul. They broke this man's heart. And to see it all crash down in such a way that I feel that the WWE has never really executed or even attempt to execute speaks volumes for Xavier and Kofi and Big E to put so much effort and work to build up a 10-year tower and to tear it all down for the next opportunity, for the next ride, for the next era of the New Day, that when they come back together, they're going to be stronger. Sometimes, my friend, you got to tear it all down to build it back up better, right? But I've never been so riveted, enamored, scared, and heartbroken over the entire segment. And it only got worse as it went on. Like, every time Xavier and Kofi kept going. But then the nail in the coffin for me is when you had Big E, who looked not even like the best shape he's been in his life. It looked like a man, like the death of a salesman, right? My man looked like he was like working, staying up all night, stressed out about this 10-year anniversary that was around the corner. He looked right at them and he said, Woods. And he said, you too, Kof? Is that it? A decade? This is how it ends? And he just kept repeating that over and over, just like that. That's how it ends. And he just leaves the ring. I could not, man. That to me is the magic of pro wrestling. That you had to be around for those 10 years to really fully embrace it. But if you were just walking in the room, you'd be like, holy, we're seeing a man's heart being broken over brotherhood. Some great stuff, man.
Dude, it was one of those moments where I was like, thank God I'm on this train, bro. Thank God I'm allowed. Because that was amazing. That was one of the best segments of the entire freaking year. And I'm going to tell you this. Nobody had it on their bingo card that that's how it was going to play out. No. Everybody thought Big E's going to return and save the New Day. One of them is going to turn heel on the other.
Well, but there were two things. They would be a heel. Like, I thought they would beat down Big E, but I didn't think it would go down like that.
So what's funny is that a lot of people wanted two things to happen. A lot of people wanted Big E to return and the New Day to stay together, right? That was on everyone's wish list. Turns out we got that wish, just monkey's paws style, where we did get the return of Big E, but that is not how we wanted that to go down. And we did have the New Day stay together, but in like the most heinous way possible that has completely corrupted the goodness that was the New Day over the last several years. I think you really hit it on the head when you said that this is a new beginning. And this is why I feel like the beatdown and the destruction, the verbal soul erasure of Big E was necessary. Because they said it as much, right? Big E, you've become a burden to us. Everywhere that we go, the only thing that anyone ever asks us over the last couple of years is, when is Big E going to return? And these are guys that have clearly been holding these thoughts in for a really long time, but it's now manifested as they see Big E there trying to finally come back into their life, and they just sort of snap. It's funny because it's a combination of both logical trauma dumping on the part of the New Day, saying, so what if you broke your neck? You didn't do this for us. And it's logical that somebody that's been through that type of trauma over the last several years, because they were in the basement of the barrel, right? Like with how they were as a team, and they've just collectively decided to blame Big E. It's both justified, equal parts delusional, which is what makes what they said to Big E like just sting so much. But what they did to Big E, mentioning that he is this burden, refusing Big E to come back into their life, is actually like what they needed for this new day to work. Because now the question isn't when will Big E be back so that the New Day is fully formed. Now it's, what are these two guys that have torn down this foundation, who are now at ground zero, what are these two guys going to build? The aura of Big E hovering above them is gone, and they needed that. And they pretty much said as much. Big E, let's just stop lying to the people. Let's just be honest with everybody. You're never coming back. And I believe that. I really believe that. I don't think that Big E is coming back. I don't think that he's going to be further added to the storyline, at the very least, not for a really long time. And saying all of these things, building down this thing that they built for 10 years, is what will allow Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston to take these new personas, this new character, this new tag team that hopefully has new music, new look, new everything, to start at the very first rung of the ladder and move up on their own accord without being weighed down by the potential return of Big E.
I like what you said there, that it's the WWE's way of telling us that Big E's never coming back. Like, it was a way for them speaking through Xavier and Kofi to let them know, like, hey, guys, as much as you want this is going to happen, it's not happening. But they didn't have to break our hearts, man. It was so hard to see Big E just be rejected like that. For Xavier Woods to go, get the hell out of this ring. Go back to your desk.
Dude, I saw people saying, like, now I'm happy Brock Lesnar beat Kofi in 6 seconds.
Dog, I'm just hoping that they don't see, like, that's what I mentioned. Their moral compass is pointed in their own, like, greed, right? In their own, like, they're right now in a, it's not a fight or flight type of situation. It's survival for Xavier and Kofi, and they're just cutting their dead weight, like you mentioned. But I give kudos for the WWE for taking this risk, because they built up something that you easily could have said, all right, New Day, you're just going to be doing this thing. You're always going to be mid-card. I think in one of the Players Tribunes, that really fascinating article that Big E wrote, he talked about floaters, and that you're not in the main event. You're not on the bottom of the card. You're not even in the mid-card. You're just around. And I think that's what Xavier and Kofi were. They were just floating around, kind of like servicing whenever they would have a segment or two. I think without Big E, they lost that magic of, hey, we could go out there, we could be and have the New Day show, we could trumpet, throw pancakes, and have a good time, and people will love to see it, right? Look at that, oh, don't you dare! Like, they'll get that pop, and there'll be a fun attraction. But without Big E, they're not that attraction anymore. So they're not only floaters, they were in purgatory, right? They were just, hey, maybe we could separate them and let them be singles guys. Oh, I don't know. Maybe Xavier could capture his own belt. What does this mean? Like, there were so many avenues to go to, but at the end of the day, they chose the path that was less trodden. This is a path of unknown. Yes?
I'm just laughing because in my head, I'm like, and then Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods broke Big E's corazon.
His heart. I remember when Dave Bautista said
that Eddie.
I remember when he said, I'm gonna break you, Ray. Like, I'm gonna hurt you, Ray. So that's what I mean. So, okay, great stuff, phenomenal stuff. Did great numbers, by the way, everywhere, social wise, for me at least. It was the most talked about thing, and I tweeted out a picture of, like, give Big E a hug, and as of now, Santi, that tweet has over 160K views on X. And that's like the most I ever got in a long time. But everybody can relate to this. And I've always said this for the longest time, that's when wrestling, when it's at its best, when it's not about gold, it's not about titles, it's about human relationships. This is something that a lot of people go through in their lives, man. sometimes you got to let that friend go that's been a friend forever, for 10 years plus. But if it's hurting your growth, man, you got to cut them off. And so Xavier and Kofi to do that, and then for the very end to go like, let's do this. And did you see what Kofi tweeted?
No.
Kofi tweeted out like this morning. He tweeted out he was on a plane and he has this fur kind of jacket on, and he's on a plane and he goes, "Woke up today feeling brand new. It's a new day. Yes, it is." Oh man.
Here, I've got a question for you, Sancho.
Yes.
We have obviously what would be the climax of everything that's been going on with the implosion of the New Day of the last several months.
Yep.
Where was Odyssey Jones supposed to fit in all of this?
I think Odyssey Jones was gonna either like be taken out by Xavier, and we're like, who hurt Odyssey Jones, or Xavier would have been like violently not wanting Odyssey, like just being like, I don't want him here. I'm not with him. Get him out of here, or it's either me or him. And then Kofi would have gone with him, Xavier. That's what my gut would have told me. Like, I think it just would have been used as a piece of showing that, more of like a swerve to say, hey, Xavier's gonna go heel. Does that make sense? Because obviously this has been the end game, because this is why they gave Big E the desk jobs. They gave him this the longest time to give Kofi and Xavier this ammunition against him in their promo to say, dude, you're at the desk, you're there all the time to get money, get paid, but you're never here for us.
Mm-hmm. I think basically what you said was terrible with with Odyssey Jones, to the point where, and I'm not roasting you. I'm just saying it's almost a little bit of a blessing in disguise that Odyssey Jones was removed from the picture, because what we got here was just so magical that I almost feel like Odyssey Jones would have been like a significantly much worse Bronson Reed. You know how like Bronson Reed was just inserted into the bloodline, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But now Odyssey Jones in the New Day, like it would have been like, this is the why. What are we doing here?
No, I feel that the thing about it is that Odyssey Jones is an example of that power of positivity. He is that template of, these are the guys. This is what the New Day was. This is the New Day was striving for, to recapture. And Kofi's like trying to do that. And I like that. Remember when Xavier was like, are you trying to replace Big E? So it was more of like rechasing the ghost. Let's refuel the spirit of Big E with Odyssey Jones. And I would have liked that idea of, I think in my mind was Kofi was trying to recapture that. And I think Xavier would have cut that off. Like, no, we're different. We need to be different. And then they would have realized two things: either Odyssey Jones will never be a Big E, or that they need to cut Big E off, not Odyssey Jones. At the end of the day, I feel sad for Big E. I hope to see Big E around more. I don't think we're going to get that Mania match. I'm kind of happy that we're going to get that Xavier Kofi match, because we're like, where's the direction, right? Where do they go after that? But my question for you is, do you think the New Day moves on? Because you kind of painted this picture that they're never going back. Like, this is it. This is their future. There's
you can't, dude. Like, you took the bridge that was holding the possibility of Big E coming back, and you nuked it. It is just, you have to move forward. There cannot be any steps back. We, as fans, we cannot do ourselves the disservice now of wanting Big E in this new version of the New Day, because they already told us in storyline, stop thinking about it. This is something brand new. We need to move on from Big E. Kofi and Xavier needed to as much, and now we as fans, we need to as well, in order to fully embrace and enjoy what Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are going to deliver. Because when they said that he's been a burden, I totally agree with them, because I haven't been able to enjoy the New Day, because I've always been asking myself, well, it's not the New Day unless Big E is there. And now, if I continue to, and I feel like it was a justified thought, right? Because the New Day with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston didn't change. It was just a shadow of its former self without Big E. So it's fair for fans to say, it's not the same without Big E. When is Big E coming back? But now, if I were to say with this new version of the New Day with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, if I were now to say, well, when is Big E coming back? I would just be being stupid. I would be being narrow-minded. I have to disassociate myself just like Xavier Woods and Kofi did from the possibility of the Big E return so that I can fully enjoy this for what it's going to be.
Someone replied to my tweet, Zoe at Fireball Happy. I gave the man a New Day bracelet on Saturday. Now I feel silly. Oh, man, dude. Dude, the wrestlers are phenomenal, like, liars. Because I've been a part of a place where, you know, you talk to video game developers because you're interviewing them or you're talking to them behind the scenes, and a developer will lie to you straight in the face because they have NDAs and they don't want to get in trouble. But I've had devs like lie to me straight in my face, and I can't tell they're lying. So can you imagine being around and knowing that this is the destination of this feud, of this 10-year anniversary, that they're going to heartbreak Big E and just sit there and Big E be like, hey, thanks for the bracelet. I really appreciate my question for you is, where does this rank for you in heel turns?
Honestly, I have to give it more thought. I feel like it would be a disservice to just kind of like jump in and try and rank this.
Jump in.
It's
top five.
It's a top 5 for me. If we can, like, just the creativity of this, right? It's not, like you said, the classic beat down the other guy who have this physical manifestation of I'm a different evil person now. Like the way that they went about it with the tearing down of a man's soul. They didn't beat him up. They didn't lay hands on him. They didn't even really like insult him. They were just expressing their own their own interpretation of the story that's been going on for the last 3 years since Big E's injury. And I don't think I've ever seen that, dude. I do not think that I've ever seen a heel turn like that. If like I said, if you could even call it a heel turn. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. I think it's a top 5 for me.
So it's S tier heel turn.
Oh, it's I think ranking system would be better. I think S tier for sure. S tier for sure.
Do you want to hear something diabolical?
Oh, bloody diabolical Huey.
This is not a safe place. This is a diabolical thought. What if Xavier and Kofi thanked Ridge Holland?
Oh my God. Damn. Oh man, that's wild. That'd be crazy. That's diabolical. You weren't kidding. That is diabolical. That's crazy. I love it. Because Rage is a nasty heel over in NXT right now.
Nasty heel, nasty guy.
I know nasty people.
You can't back down. That's what I'm trying to say. I think like you open Pandora's box and there's just no way you're gonna go anywhere further than that. There's no other option. You said it best. If you go back now, then you can't believe anything they say. They're going to have to lean in, and that's why Kofi tweeted out the tweet. I think it's going to be a harder job for Xavier, though, because Xavier has up, up, down, down. And up, up, down, down, though, is never kayfabe. It exists in its own nebulous because you have literally Braun Breaker geeking out about Smash Brothers on up, up, down, down and talking about it's fun there. But I don't know what's going on. WWE, as of 55 minutes ago, good morning to everyone except Kofi and Xavier on their Twitter. Like, goodness gracious, dude. I just can't think of everything. Big E's girlfriend put a middle finger and says, nah, when we brought our home, I was looking forward to having the boys over. I was mentally planning to have 2 different meals to accommodate Kofi Kingston's vegan ass and Austin Creed's childish ass palate. But since y'all want to be ungrateful crybaby ass, y'all can choke. Dog, I love it. I love that the girlfriend's in the kayfabe vibe. But brother, this thing put shockwaves in everything. This is like the epitome of Hogan, the third man. This is obliterating anything and everything, that the power of positivity, dude. And I love what Karrion Kross, dude. Again, we got to bring in Karrion Kross. I know you're thinking that they're different trains, but Karrion Kross is still a part of it, because Karrion Kross says, once it all went down, he says, this is all I ever wanted you to see, a new day, TikTok.
Wow. Okay,
Come
that's
on!
cold. That's cold. That's
Come
cold.
on, dude. Carry
Dude,
across.
I'm on the train. I'm on the train. I'm on the
Yes.
train. All right, I'm on the train. I'm on the train. I'm in it. All right.
Yes.
I might not be a first class train.
No,
you know.
you're not.
You know what do you even call people that
Passenger?
ride trains? Passenger. I'm not a first class passenger.
It shows that
Oh
you
man,
never...
I don't ride trains, bro. You ride trains on the regular?
Yes,
No, you don't.
the park train. Absolutely, you've been on a park
Oh, that's
train.
not the same. I'm thinking like steam trains. You've never been on one of those.
No.
You've never been on one of those. You've never been. You've never been.
You ever seen a movie called Darjeeling Limited? It's
No.
a Wes Anderson movie. Highly recommend. It's a great movie. It's about these three brothers who take a train ride throughout India. Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman. Wow. Jason Schwartzman and Adrian Brody are the brothers. Great movie. Highly recommend.
Great movie.
And I know movies, but I think this Raw continues to excel because that was at the hour mark. But can we talk about what they always had in their back pocket whenever times are getting dry, and they could put it on the table, and it's CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins, dude. Two gasoline nuclear power bombs, all that kind of vibes sitting there. And I have to say though, is Seth Rollins always steps up to the plate when CM Punk's around. And there was something, pun intended, raw about what Seth Rollins was saying and what CM Punk was saying. And then when Sami Zayn came in there, it just kept getting escalated and escalated. And I love that in wrestling, things could actually escalate to a match. And that's what I loved about this entire segment. Escalated. You know what? It seems like you need to blow some steam off, Seth. Let's have a match. I'm like, yes, let's have a match. And then in that match, there still was a story, like who beat up Jay. I didn't beat up Jay. Yes, you did with the chair. Like, I like that it wasn't a traditional who's going to win a wrestling match type of vibe. I like that there's more story building. But I have to give the MVP card, the S tier, to Seth Rollins. Because without Seth Rollins carrying that segment, man, it wouldn't really matter about CM Punk. But man, Seth Rollins was spinning some game that day. And Seth Rollins deserves this extra star on his paper. Fantastic.
I agree, dude. I mean, the segment from head to toe was fantastic, with the exception of the brawl. The brawl was weak sauce. Yeah, dude, it was goofy levels of bad. Especially
Shane McMahon punches bad.
Yeah, considering we've seen so many awesome brawls on Monday Night Raw over the last couple of months, like it's the place where brawls happen,
Again,
right?
You can't shove another wrestler and he just falls on his ass. It just makes the other wrestler look so weak.
And then the shadow boxing that they were doing, it was bad. But everything, like the lead up to it, I love CM Punk's like simple motivation. Like, hey, I've learned to put my differences aside. I worked with Roman Reigns. I put my beef aside. I got no beef with you, and you have nothing that interests me anymore. You used to have the World Heavyweight Championship. I had eyes on you. Now you mean nothing to me. You've been thinking about me for 6 months. I haven't thought about you once. Like, CM Punk was lethal in that promo, but so was Seth Rollins. And it just goes to show, man, like Punk, when he's opposite sides of somebody that can carry themselves on the mic, like it just leads to legendary levels of promos. We saw it with Drew McIntyre in that feud, and we're going to obviously see it here with Seth Rollins. I love the fact that they're already starting this feud, which will clearly be a WrestleMania thing. It's funny because it almost seems like take two, right? Attempt numero dos here, folks, because this is exactly when Seth Rollins versus CM Punk attempt one at the feud happened, right? The night after CM Punk came back at Survivor Series last year. So, and it didn't build up because of the CM Punk injury. It's like, okay, let's do it again, and let's give ourselves the same amount of time that we had projected last year to build this up. And it does seem early, but also doesn't seem early enough because of how many layers there are to this feud. There's just so much meat, so much history. I actually really do hope, and it is possible because of the types of PLEs that we have upcoming, right? We have the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. It is totally believable to keep these guys apart from one another until WrestleMania. You can have them both be in the Rumble. They can have a moment in the Rumble. Maybe they're both participants in the Elimination Chamber, but you could totally, because of the schedule that we have, keep these guys apart until WrestleMania, and I'm here for it.
Dude, I don't know if CM Punk can survive a chamber, though. My man, he's dead hell in the cell.
We don't have to have him in the chamber, but like,
He'd
Seth
be the
could
last
be in the
one in.
chamber. And Punk could cost him the chamber match, right? Like we've seen in the last couple of chambers somebody breaking in to cost the person that's about to win the chamber match. We saw it with Logan Paul crashing in to stop Seth Rollins. We saw it with who helped? Oh, who helped? Oh no, it was also
AJ.
Logan Paul.
It was AJ. AJ too.
No. Oh, AJ too did do the legendary travel across the planet to stop LA Knight.
Time out. You said Nakamura and Logan Paul. If they have a feud, that is not good for Logan Paul at all. Like, it is not good at all.
No, Logan Paul would just roast it, right? And it wouldn't work.
No, but he should stay away from anything Japan-wise anyway.
Oh, forgot about that.
He's shadow banned, remember? According to Dominic.
That's right. He is shadow banned. Look, and let's not forget how great Sami Zayn was in that promo as well.
It was the best he's ever been.
Dude, the line of you're the one who created the monster when you hit him in the back with the chair. Bold. I loved it. I love the callbacks. I love this era of professional wrestling that isn't afraid to go back to old things that have happened to tell the narrative of today, and that was perfectly executed.
And then Seth did the same thing. You did the same thing too, Sammy. You can't. Well, one thing I want to point out is they are adding power to the chair shot. You see that? They're building up the power,
just like the pile driver, bro.
Like
the pile driver and the chair shots are back.
They're coming back. But I think the reason why everything worked is you can tell that they weren't really speaking from a script. They were speaking with their heart on everything. And I think when the wrestlers lead with their heart and they're passionate about the angle that they're in, you could see that it excels. It's like, you ever worked with somebody and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to work with this person. You kind of up your game a little bit. You step it up to the plate. I have that all the time. If I'm working with my favorite casters and my favorite pairing, I step it up because I know that it's going to be a great show. And I feel that CM Punk understands he has a very valid dance partner with Seth Rollins that could easily be growing into possibly maybe one of CM Punk's best feuds ever. Like, you have John Cena, Drew McIntyre's running around the corner. And I think Seth Rollins needs to be added into that one of CM Punk's feud. I think this is the kind of feud that they were hoping that AEW would get with MJF and CM Punk. This is the same level.
Do you remember when CM Punk originally came back and we were doing the podcast, like still kind of early days of the podcast, and I was so geeked out about the return of CM Punk, and you had me like tell you why CM Punk is so awesome and so valuable, why I loved him so much. Do you see it?
No, absolutely. I started to see it a lot in AEW because that's what drew me over to AEW. But I think what I like about it here is that he understands he doesn't have to say much to get a lot about what he means, right? His intentions are so clear, and you believe that he believes in what he does. Like, you look at CM Punk, you're like, wow, this aura is ematic. It is off the charts. So when my interactions, and the reason why I was asking you that, because the CM Punk I got was a man that left WWE, went to MMA, got his ass beat 3 times, right? Something like that. Just got destroyed, hung around, everyone was wanting them back. Then he comes back in AEW, and then I started to see, oh, okay, the CM Punk pro wrestler can do something. I'm just hoping that his body could last as long as his mind can go. Regardless, at the end of the day, CM Punk's going to have a very long career in the WWE, and he's going to be around forever. Whether it's going to be a booker, whether he goes back down to NXT, just takes over like a Shawn Michaels role, he's just going to be a presence that's going to be like a Michael Hayes. It's going to be like a Triple H, where he's just going to always add value to any program that he's added to. Because imagine in the future, the dude, to 2030, in 2040, there's going to be some superstar that's going to need a rub. And if he comes into kind of like crosses swords with CM Punk or has a promo with CM Punk, you're like, wow, he got the CM Punk rub, right? Old gray-haired CM Punk out there doing his thing. Like, it's going to be awesome, man. He's going to be like what Bret Hart is without the annoying Goldberg problem.
Let me tell you something about Bill Goldberg. That's another cadence, right?
Yeah.
That's another like well-known cadence of promos.
Bret Hart in the 90s always started off with his promos like, I always have a problem. He always like, annoyed me when I was a kid. I was like, shut up.
So, are we both in the camp that the favor is getting the main event of WrestleMania?
Yes.
The thing that's eluded CM Punk for his entire career in the WWE, the thing that he kind of alluded to it, the thing that he was always told he couldn't have, is this the favor? It makes sense, right?
But how? I think it's got to be by crook. It's going to be dirty. I think he's going to screw over somebody, and that's going to make him heel. Because you can't. The only way you can make CM Punk heel is not through the ring, is not through his promos, because he's always like us. He's always going to be the golden boy in all that situation. It's through politicking. It's him screwing over some other person's spot. It's him blending the lines of kayfabe and backstage. Like, oh my God, CM Punk got this spot because Paul Heyman stole it away from somebody. Or he pulled a card that if I don't get this spot, I'm leaving. Like, there's so many kind of cards on the table for him to play. For us, the smart fan, to hate him. And I think that's what opens the door if you involve a Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman is by hook or crook, he's going to get the job done. And I think it's going to be interesting to see that does CM Punk embrace the dark side.
And it's funny that you say that, because I feel like that is one of the few ways you can make CM Punk into a proper heel, because it's not about making CM Punk go up against another babyface, because we're seeing it with Seth Rollins, and that doesn't make Punk the heel by default, because so many people still love him. I think it does have to be a nefarious classic pro wrestling trope,
like
that
a Hogan.
will allow us, that will allow us to see CM Punk as a true, proper, like, damning heel, like, because he really has to go overboard for people to hate him, like mocking the recently dead Paul Bearer and spreading his ashes on himself and stealing the urn. I was like, okay, you're a bad dude. You have to really go overboard with CM Punk. So I totally get where you're coming from there.
Like, what if he entered the Rumble and he had some stooges clear out the Rumble for him? Like, because he said in that promo, there's lots of different paths to get into the main event spot in WrestleMania. He said roads, actually.
A lot of different ways.
A lot of different roads to finish the story. Anyway, so in order for us to hate Punk, he's going to have to do that kind of stuff. He's going to have to stooge his way. He's going to have to cheat. He's going to have to lie, maybe steal. Imagine, dude, if it's a Money in the Bank and he did, like, he had that Brock Lesnar spot. Oh, we would hate him. Remember when Brock just walked in?
I remember. That was like the worst kind of heat.
That's what I mean.
That.
But the thing is, with CM Punk, he could take that heat. He could be the worst kind of heat. He could eat a finger poke of doom and make it look like gold. Imagine if they did it. They had the nerve to do the Vince Russo moment with Hogan, where Hogan and Vince Russo, literally Vince Russo came out and exposed that Hogan didn't want to do the job, didn't want to put Jeff Jarrett over. And that's why he had Jeff Jarrett laid down in the ring. Like, what if Paul Heyman kind of shepherd that kind of situation?
I think what you want here, Sancho, is a not real version of CM Punk's final days in AEW, right? Like, how, like, so many of these AEW stories came out of, like, people going to business for themselves. This incredibly just, like, bitter, angry version of Punk that was doing all these things that eventually got him fired. I think I would love to see that Punk in a story controlled environment that doesn't actually spiral him into a bitter person. I would love to see that manifested into a WWE character.
Because what if Carmelo Hayes tweeted out the day of, after that thing, I got some backstage tips from CM Punk how to fight backstage, like take on
to never lose a fight backstage.
Right. So what if he attacked Carmelo? What if they had those kinds of things? I think there's so many opportunities for the WWE to lean into the internet fever that we could take a small detail and blow it up, make content on it.
Bro, what if he puts Cody Rhodes through glass?
Real glass.
Cry
me a river. Like I said, like what I mean. What if you could start saying the word scapegoat? What if they do so many things to kind of wedge that sword deeper to let us know that, hey, at the end of the day, when CM Punk first showed up, what did he say? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. And if he was, and if he became that guy, I think that would turn some heads and make him heel. Like, what if he start like? There's always what do they say? The worst thing for a content creator to do is start talking about money, right? Whether good or bad. Like whether we're like, I have this much amount of money, or I need this much more money. Like, there's so many things that you can do, and talking about money is definitely one of the ways. But I'm just hoping that when it comes down to the end of the day, that his body just stays up. That's all I need you to do, brother. Get there, show up. Because every time I see him walking around, when he jumped off the top turnbuckle down into the thing with his little suit, like, oh, don't hurt your knees.
Dude, it's the Derrick Rose effect. It is absolutely the Derrick Rose effect, where you're just afraid to see him do things that we've seen him do a million times.
Did you think that he was gonna drop Solo Sikoa? He put him in the thing.
It looked like he was gonna fall over. Yeah, it did. It absolutely looked like that was gonna happen. I'm glad it didn't. That would have been bad.
It would have been bad.
But Drew McIntyre is back, though. Drew McIntyre is back. There's an account that was keeping track of how many days he was gone. I think it was like 52 days without Drew McIntyre. I love that he's back. I just have a bit of like a question mark of like, where does he fit into all of this?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he's going to fit in somewhere, and it's going to be great. But I'm just like not seeing it like directly in front of me, and I'm actually kind of excited about that. Because, and I guess what I'm saying is like, where does he fit in? I don't really mean in the now. I really do mean in WrestleMania. Like, because we're basically already going towards there. What is like the play for Drew McIntyre here? Is it against Jey Uso? Is it a Sami Zayn thing? What is it? What do we do with Drew McIntyre here?
He's scorching the earth, man. What was his mission last time? What turned him heel was him going crazy that everyone wanted to accept Jey Uso. And that he was getting constantly screwed by the blood. I'm getting screwed. And no one seemed to care, right? No one cared about what he was doing or what all the screw jobs he went through. And he turned heel. He went into this notion of that if no one else is right, I'm going to be wrong then in this situation. And I'm going to fully dive into it. And he's going to come after Sammy. He's going to come after Jay for joining back on the bloodline. He is retribution, brother.
Oh, well, not the retribution.
No. But he is the man he's the Grim Reaper, man. He's gonna punish all those. He's a Punisher of the WWE. Ooh.
Doesn't it just feel like this, like him returning is just like, oh, by the way, we're going to 3 hours soon, and it's Netflix. So we're just kind of re-upping the arsenal. And
yeah.
Did you forget we have an amazing main event caliber dude in Drew McIntyre? Well, here he is. He's back. And Raw Netflix is going to torch. We're back to being the A Show, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple more weeks. The A Show is back. Today, this last episode, we had a taste of what the A Show was like. And Sancho, you are shaking in your boots over there on SmackDown because we're coming for that spot.
I have to say that what makes Monday Night Raw so good is that when all the storylines are cooking and firing on all cylinders, it's a more even playing ground. Like there's like 4 or 5 stories that can cook. Whereas SmackDown only has Bloodline. And that's where like it pushes itself. And that's why I think LA Knight needs to get out of there. And I've been saying that for a long time since the draft. LA Knight needs to be on Raw because he could have a spot and a moment to excel in. Are you looking at yourself in the camera? I think you are.
I was fixing my hair.
How are the gyms in Colombia? What's your workout over there?
Oh, dude. Oh my goodness. There was this like grungy, like traditional gym that I liked, but like somebody's like, no, there's a brand new gym literally across the street. So I went to it at like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I checked it out. And I was like, all right, this is fine. Like, it's like basically the same thing as the other one, but it's just newer stuff. So I was like, okay, why not? I'll sign up here instead. I go there at 6 p.m. to work out, and it is just a rave in there in the worst types of ways. It is pitch black. Yeah. It is neon lights everywhere, pulsating lights. It is a nightclub.
I thought you meant like packed, but it's literally a rave.
No. It's literally like it is a nightclub, and I was like, I can't do this. I need my grungy old gym back, so I canceled there after one workout and went to the old gym that I was at. But gyms are fine here. Gyms are gyms, bro. 45 pounds weighs here the same that it weighs there.
What's the one machine that you need the most? Like you're like, you gotta have it.
The hack squat is called. I can't squat traditionally barbell anymore since my back injury, but that allows me to stabilize my spine and core while still doing a proper squat motion and getting some good glute activation. So a good hack squat is what I need for a good leg day. Everything else I can work around.
Are you a dumbbell guy or a free weight guy?
Yes, I am. I am. It's just really the only moves I can't do anymore are deadlifts and squats, which are really like vital moves. So I have to find more isolation ways to hit those muscle groups that those compound moves would hit. And this is when we're losing all of our listeners.
No. They're interested in your life. What's the most silliest, unnecessary machine ever that's existed in a gym before? That you're like, why do people do this machine? It's silly.
The shoulder press machine. Like, dude, just use dumbbells, bro. It is a waste of square footage. Does it work? Yes, it does. But you could absolutely either just clear up that space or have something else, because you could do shoulders a gazillion different ways that does not require an entire dedicated machine for one movement, the shoulder press. The shoulder press is a good movement. It's a good movement. You just don't need a whole machine for it.
Does it look like this? It has like the bars here, and then it has like the two plates. You can go like that.
It's usually it's usually like the two arms right here, and then you press up.
The two right here.
The two right here. The two right here. You look at it this way. You look at it that way too, and then you press up. Why are you laughing?
Our viewers are back. There they come.
Oh, you thought. Look, you were comparing Raw and SmackDown there for a second. One of the things that is like starkly better on SmackDown that was made very evident with the reveal of the Intercontinental Championship bracket for the women's is the women's division on Raw is rough, bro, compared to SmackDown. And the heaters that are on the SmackDown bracket for the US Women's Championship, they've done such a poor job of elevating the women outside of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And I almost feel like they're using this tournament to jolt some life into the women's division that's outside of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, because this is WWE's own doing. Because that division, that tournament is significantly less hype than what we're getting over on SmackDown. It's just so significantly less interesting.
Because I'm looking at the bracket here. We did see Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and Katana Chance. I thought Shayna was going to win for a second there. Not going to lie.
Katana Chance looked great in that.
Yeah, Katana Chance looked great in that.
She looked great in that, but I never believed that she would win.
No, I mean, I think that's the problem with this tournament style is like you could kind of guess who's going to go through. The only one that's pretty tough that's going to go through is Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, and Ivy Nile.
I agree, bro. Lyra and Zelina should not be in the opening match against each other. Those should be like two semifinalists. Those are two people that people want to see go deep in this tournament.
Yep, and I feel that it's interesting that they put Dakota Kai through. I like that. But when I look at her side of the bracket, it's Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark.
Raquel is there.
Raquel Rodriguez and Kaden Carter. So Raquel Rodriguez is clearly going to be in the finals.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
The thing that she did with Kairi Sane was kind of nutty. Did you see that?
Oh, can we talk about like that whole moment? Like Raquel, that was the first time that I actually bought into Raquel's a badass since coming back and being the badass bodyguard of Liv Morgan. Finally, she's like a monster in the ring, winning matches for Liv Morgan and standing tall to Rhea Ripley. They finally did what I've been calling for, right? Which is when Rhea Ripley comes out, Liv Morgan runs, and Raquel stands tall. And they haven't been doing that, which has just completely plummeted Raquel's stock.
And then Rhea runs her over. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But like this is finally, like this allows Liv Morgan to stand toe to toe because it's a Raquel. We got Raquel.
She pick up Kairi with like no effort, dead weighted her basically. And
nasty Tejana bomb. Nasty Tejana bomb.
Oh, so good. Remember, I was on the Raquel train earlier. What did I say about Raquel and Rhea? What was the chemistry like? Brett and Sean, right?
Brett and Sean.
Don't laugh at me.
Oh, that's right.
You know what, right?
Brett and Sean chemistry.
You know what they do.
Oh, yeah,
they do. When Raquel came back and she was the mystery entrant in that battle royale. Oh, You come on, dude. When you hear that, you know. Come on, man.
Dale corazón. We're at like the 2-hour mark. Shall we move into the new heat order?
This is important. This is important. We need to give the women some shine here because on the other side, it's Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, and Natalya. Come, dude.
Natalia's going
That's
deep
what
in
I'm
this.
saying. No.
Natalia's going deep in this, bro. And she could win.
No.
She could win,
Look,
bro. She could win.
Look, I love Natalya. She's awesome. But you have Lyra Valkyria, you have Zelina Vega, you have Raquel, and you have Dakota Kai, dude. They're all...
Natalya could win.
And this is not a slight against her. She's fun, but they would only give it to her just so she could be the first ever, and it'd be a great nod. But who is she gonna? She has to beat Raquel then.
All I know is that the odds aren't zero that Natalya's your first Intercontinental Championship after I saw that bracket.
Who's winning, Lyra Valkyria or Zelina? Out of the no diss.
I would say Lyra. I think because remember they gave Lyra and Dakota Kai last week's in the Go Home episode of Raw. They gave them both like pre-recorded vignettes, like they're here, right? And Dakota Kai won her match. I bet that Lyra wins hers.
Fair enough. And then Natalya wins it all.
And then Natalya.
Are you excited for Karrion Kross and the Wyatt Six? The four-man?
Dude, it's so unfair. They should definitely either be Raw Netflix or Saturday night's main event. This seems, again, like they're just getting the butt end of the stick, shall we say? It's not. They should be getting a bigger stage.
Wait. The what?
The butt end of the stick.
What does that mean?
It's the end that goes in the butt.
All right, folks. That is Wrestling is Cool podcast.
It's the end that goes in the butt.
Ray.
Sancho.
No, Ray. No.
It's the stick that you take.
No, Ray. Ray.
And then you grab the
stick.
stick.
No, okay, Ray. That's enough, Ray. That's Ray.
And then you lift the stick.
I'm waiting for
right in the butt.
I'm waiting for the Spanish in there.
Dentro en el culo.
Why?
Because we're 2 hours in, man. We're 2 hours in. We can get away with anything. We can get away with whatever we want now.
No. We're on.
All right, let me tell you my new conspiracy theory.
No, Jesus.
And then finish it by saying, yeah.
God. Okay. New heat order, folks. For those of you who know, the new heat order is the buzz, the hype, all the excitement that we're getting into when it comes down to what we're excited for the most, and it's not necessarily the best wrestlers in the world. Are you any question quickly? Roman Reigns. What does he do? Like, is Roman now going to go after the Ulafala?
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely Roman versus Solo Ulafala match. That's I feel like that's going to be where The Rock returns, or the debut of Hikuleo.
Is it on a pole? Is it on the ladder? Is it
on a pole? No, I think it's just a match. Winner gets it. Tribal Combat Oos or Bloodline Rules, one or the other.
No,
do you think that they've sunsetted Tribal Combat or Bloodline Rules?
Yeah, basically. The Tribal the combat was like, yeah, we can't go too over the top with all the tribalism. Let's just lean into Bloodline Rules, aka they have the worst win percentage in it anyway. All right, going into the last thing we had. Let's see, CM Punk, Paul Heyman, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, the Costco guys, New Day, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, Bayley, and Chelsea Green.
Can we just put every member of the New Day individually? 1, 2, 3. Like it's honestly 1, 2, 3, big space, and then 4th.
Okay. Who's one then? I think Big E, right?
Big E. I would go Big E, Kofi, Xavier, because I wasn't expecting that type of ruthlessness from Kofi. It's done a little bit more coming from Kofi.
Someone posted on Instagram Reels about there's a theory that Kofi was wearing a Vegeta symbol. It's like a B starts with a B, Vegeta. And how he's, I don't know. I was gonna say in that video. Do you know anything about that? Like Vegeta. It's like a version of Vegeta that starts with a B.
B. I mean, I can quickly look it up.
All right, I'm gonna. I think. Okay, number 1 is Big E. Number 2, Kofi Kingston. Number 3, Xavier. Number 4, I'm gonna go with. Yes.
You gotta go with Punk. You gotta go with Punk or Seth.
I'm gonna go with Seth.
Okay, go Seth. I'm okay with that.
Seth. It's like a blonde hair Vegeta or white hair Vegeta.
Baby Vegeta.
No.
It would be baby Vegeta. Baby doesn't mean like wah wah baby. It's like a corrupted Vegeta.
Yes. That's what he was saying, I think. That Xavier's
That was Xavier?
No, that was Kofi. Kofi had it on his necklace.
Kofi had it on, okay.
On his necklace. All right, number 5, I'd say is CM Punk.
I would agree.
Number 6.
Oh, you know what? It's the M. Majin Vegeta is another corrupted Vegeta.
Yes,
it's an M.
That's what he was saying.
There's 2 corrupted Vegetas. Okay. Funny enough, Sancho, one is canon, one isn't. Baby Vegeta comes from Dragon Ball GT, which is not created by the original creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama. It was instead created by the studio that published Dragon Ball in order to continue Dragon Ball Z's legacy once the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, ended the original Dragon Ball Z series. Baby Vegeta is not canon. Majin Vegeta is.
What would that be in relation to that Majin Vegeta? Ask Kofi.
Majin Vegeta was a guy that was always very proud and very angry, but became a more subdued, like good version of himself. And when he became Majin Vegeta, is he purposely let himself be corrupted so that he can become the strongest version of himself. He allowed the corruption to happen. It wasn't against his will. He welcomed the corruption so that he could unlock the most vicious version of himself.
Yeah, and I can't.
Maybe that's what we're seeing here with Kofi.
Yeah, and
allowing himself to see the corruption of Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods finally, and unleashing the most ruthless version of himself into the world.
I can't see. The creator. If you listen to this, I apologize. I'll credit you when I find your name, but it was a good video because I was enthralled. Number 6. I kind of want
Zayn, or we could go Roman here.
I'm gonna go Drew.
Roman. Oh yeah, Drew. Go Drew. Dude, there's just so many people to put in this list this week.
Daddy Drew Mac.
Daddy Drew.
Who's not a heel, by the way.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's some things that people don't know about. Our lore goes deep, brother. We're about a year in plus.
We have lore. You're right.
We have lore. There are people that said, I will remember the day that Santi was allowed on this train. And there were some people that upset at me that allowed you on the train. And they still tell you that you're not allowed.
Oh, well, it's not your choice,
yeah,
people.
The conductor
Sancho's the conductor.
They're about to overthrow me. All right, this is the list so far for the people. Who do we have at 7?
I think this could be Roman.
I was going to say Paul Heyman, but Roman, okay.
I would go Roman, yeah.
Yeah, Roman's performance was great. I mean,
let's not forget the great face-to-face on SmackDown, right? We didn't really talk much about SmackDown because we talked about Survivor Series.
Pre-taped.
And it was pre-taped, yeah.
Pre-taped. I mean, I did have a big problem with Ciampa's promo. I felt like it was so over the top. I thought if he was like a little bit more subdued, it'd be great. And
it's my way. It's my way.
I spoke about it in the review on Patreon, which is still up there if you want to watch it. We have like all the SmackDown reviews from the past for a good chunk of it. But I talked about, he said something interesting. He said, like, I don't want to be a loser to our kids. And I thought that should have been the point that was the last thing said versus the titles. Because, again, I could relate to that notion of, like, not wanting to appear like a loser with your family. And so I thought, man, that was a good, strong point. But he, like, bulldozed over that to get to the point, like, it's about the tag team belts. I'm like, it's not about the tag team belts. It's about being a loser to your kids. That's much more. It's a little bit more of something to chew on there. Number 8. Anything from Nakamura?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Give me that Nakamura, baby. Do you think
Are
he
the women
that
cold right now? Are the women cold?
I feel that after that performance at War Games, the only thing I'm interested in, my only hope was Tiffany cashing in. Because I was like, if they cash in, then we're in a new phase of the women's division, and we're like now we're getting to something more different. I think that the only person that's hot coming off of the entire Survivor Series and Monday Night Raw is probably Liv Morgan still, because she's dealing with Finn Balor, and that she's
it does still feel like they need a couple of weeks to get back into the new Heat order to reset storylines.
Oddly enough, I'm still interested in what happened to Jade Cargill, because that's still on the tape on the table.
All right, number 9.
Jey Uso?
Jey Uso, dude. Yeah, him getting the last entrance, that doesn't get talked about enough, man. That's clearly them seeing huge main event worth in Jey Uso coming out after CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Good Lord. Jey Uso, put it. Can we just like a 10 out of respect for how much we asked for it, and then when we finally got it, and then realizing how brutal it was, can we put Bronson Reed? Yeah, like, dude, the tsunami off the top. You get on the list. You get on.
I would have been happy. You know what? Yeah, but we're bitches though, dude. We would have been upset if he just did it off the top turnbuckle. We'd have been like, "Oh, come on!" But Bronson, get well. I don't even know if you're out. I don't think. I mean, most likely you are, but no human angle should turn that way if you land.
No, bro, he's out. He's out for sure.
But he didn't even limp. You know what? Shout out to honorable mention Jacob Fatu. Great, phenomenal star in that match. That dude was cooking. And then he had the best. He had the best impressions. And, oh, dude, he would hit a
dude,
move.
how funny was like the NFL style intros for Survivor Series? Oh, dude, I was crying laughing. I had a tweet kind of go viral where I posted Hingle McCringleberry from the skit of Key and Peele, and as I like new Bloodline member, because they were doing like the East versus West Bowl style introductions. I love Tavatonga's, man. What was he? He's just like from university with a major in yeah.
My favorite meme of the Survivor Series, and I think I sent it to you, was they put Tama Tonga, who was scaling the fence like in Mario Brothers, and he was scaling the fence in Super Mario World.
Oh, it was great. That was great.
But what a weird start to that War Games. It was literally just Jay and Tama Tonga staring at each other for like 2-3 minutes almost.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and Tonga Loa, for the love of God, bro, pick up.
Dude, I forgot he was in the match. I forgot he was in the match.
He took a Jey Uso spirit and he was done.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so. Go ahead before I
there it is. Here's the list, y'all. Number 10, Bronson Reed. Number 9, Jey Uso. Number 8, what does that say? Nakamura. Number 7, Roman Reigns. Number 6, Drew Mack. Number 5, CM Punk. Number 4, Seth Rollins. Number 3, Xavier Woods. Number 2, Kofi Kingston. Number 1, Big E. Big E. Don't go breaking my heart. I should have tweeted an image with Ralph Wiggum.
Oh, you can pinpoint the moment that his heart breaks right here.
Would you have worked? Do you think it would have worked though? Like you traditionally, Triple H booking would have been that Big E was their manager for like a week or two.
But like, what would have been the purpose of that? To turn an already long storyline even longer? They executed it well. Executed it well.
Yes.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. How long was this?
Right on mark, 2 hours.
Hey, look at that. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. An extra special thank you, of course, goes out to our $15 patrons. Oh, it's getting there. No,
don't do that. Don't do that. You can't. I can't. Don't do that.
It's bad lighting. I have bad lighting here right now.
Yeah?
I have bad lighting. It's bad lighting.
My favorite thing ever. I don't know if you know, Greg Miller and The Rock had a funny interaction on Twitter one day, and The Rock told Greg Miller to shave his Chewbacca's.
You shave armpit hair?
No,
neither do I. Gotta keep it, man. Gotta keep it.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you very much to our $15 patrons. They are our producers of this show. So an extra special thank you goes out to Sancho Mania Running Wild, FU Santi on First, 2022 Benjamin, Aaron Garcia, Akira Kemp, Akai is gone, Alex, Alexander Dawson, Alan Crockett, Anita Maxwin, Antoni, Ariyoshi, Ashley Reinohi, Asperlitz, Aussie Kingslayer, Austin Baker, Austin Gregory, Austin Theory's Theorist, RIP Mad Pat, Authentic Chocolate, Bailey Saunders, Ben Calloway, Ben Farton, Barry, B Hostile, Big Poppy Sasquatch, Big Shy, Blast Past 64, Bluefish 13, Bob Thiessen, Brady Keaton, Brandon, Brian Ibarra, Bry Guy, Bryce Bird, Bunker Jonesy loves WWE, Caleb Lee, Callis Kavan, Cameron Dodd, Cameron Noel, Carlos Gonzalez, CB, change my name because Santi can't say Dutch words, Cheeseball Rules, Chew Poppy, Chimchar Collectibles, Chris Harris, Christian Billick, Christian G, Christian Ormsby, Christian Burt, Christopher Butner Lucas, CM Puff, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson, Daniel Hu, Dark Flame, Detroit Made Benjamin, DJ Broadnex, DJS, Dorian Best, Dr. Undashing Long Dong Undertaker DMD, Drew Baumgarn, Duck Slave, Dumsky, Dyer, Hellfire, Dylan Kana, El Yochi, Emmanuel Holmes, Eric Abuelna, Aaron Thorne, Isach, Eileen Ulick. Ew. Oh, no. I said Eileen Ulick. Anyways, he got me good. Anyways, Fernando Madrigal, Fletcher Waffle, Floating, Forever Wrestling, Franklin L. Everett, Gabe Morez, Gamerscape, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, GXA Man, Hartfeld, Hoodie Cam, I Miss Jericho, Issa David, It's Mista, Jack Baker, Jack Gibley, Jackson, Jacob Pena, Jacob Staffel, Jaden, Jita, Jake Chavoya, James Brian Balago, Jason the Sellout, Jassim Alcazar, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Jeremiah, Jeremy C. Moreau, Jesse Gibson, Jesse Janihi, Joe Velez, Joey Romig, Jolly Green Giant, Jordan Lynch, Jordy Marte, Josby, Jose Santi's cousin, Joseph Pointer, Josh Sutton, JR2619, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Juicy, Jumpy Plastic, Justin Courtright, Justin Perkins, Caden Rivers, Caleb Cunningham, Caden Burgess, Ken Dean, Cassaz, Coady Rig Boogs, Kyrie Lawrence, Lil Shifu, Luke Parker, Luke Sika, Manly Man, Manny IDK, Marnie YCSM, Matthew Dollar is all I need, Matthew Feth, Matthew Watkins, Max Dupree, Mekhi, Michael Purnell, Michael W. Yee, Miguel Paredes, Mikey Rada, Mitchell Harris, Mitchell X, Muhammad Al-Banai, Monte Moore, Mr. No Filter, Nathan Steveson, Neb, Nellen Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Obi Nobi, Osama Awad, Pat R, Pat McMack, Pim Kawa, Frody, Punk Fan 6, Puppet Master Johnson, Raffle, Raw Daddy, Rari Sinclair, React to John Cena triple threat match of Mania 25, Reaper God, Ricky Dutcher, RIP Matt Pad, hashtag gone too soon,
not
RIP. Robert Rogers, Rocky B, Royce Ruffo, Riley, Sancho wants that Xavier Wood.
Fair enough.
Royce Ruffo, I think I read that one. Santi Giannetti, Sancho Michaels. Santi
Wait, what was
looks
that one
like
again?
Now moving on. We only say it once.
Oh,
all right. Santi looks like the Wish version of Serge Tanakian. I don't know what that is. So joke's on you. Santi makes me chum. Santi Stinkface, Saudi Rick Boogs, Screamo Scott, Sembus, Seth, Shaggy WWE, Shane, Shawn Michaels Right Nostril, Sip God, Sir Nightmare, Skylar Brashiers, Slimski, Slow Toke Rodriguez, Smooth, Solo, I love you, Solo, fuck you, Summer V1, Spicy Nugget. By the way, those were 3 different names, by the way. That was not one separate sentence. That was 3 different individuals back to back to back. Star Shield Nick, Stone Cold Peach Austin, Stucky, Sancho. We're on the page 5 here, baby.
I love
Sugar
dude,
Shane.
The day that Solo goes, Solo, I hate you. You're like, no.
That'll be the next due day breakup.
Yeah.
Super Malachi Galaxy, the final boss, the first Patreon crazy dude. He's been wanting to show us this. I gotta show it to you after this. This cameo that he bought, and I keep forgetting. The underdog, the Undertaker's
he said
son.
that he tagged me, and he never like tagged me. I looked for it. I'm like, I don't.
So it's his fault. It's his fault.
No,
it's
I'm not
his
saying
fault.
it's his fault. It's just funny to me that he goes, yeah. He came to my Twitch. He's like, yeah, man, it's like old, it's outdated anyway. I'm like, oh, I'm still tag me in it, and I can't find it. So
The underwear taker. Thiem is a Dutch name which Santi can't say correctly. Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Tommy, Trendhead, Two Crown, Tyler Free, V. Charles, Juan Pablo III, Wesley Simpson, White Mexican, Will Joe Williams, Woe JC, Javier Izquierdo, X Deadshot, ya boy, Xavier Woods, Zach Griffin, Zach Landau, Zay2K, and Zerg Zito. Thank you all for being $15 patrons. That's a record number. So thank you all for the love and support and helping us do this as often as we do it. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. You folks take care. And as always, be wonderful, excellent people.